Assassin's Creed, where it's like we're going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to keep a lot of things, but we're going to reinvent the wheel with Origins. And with Resident Evil, again, like seeing what the possibilities that PT demo did, they were like, we're going to reinvent Resident Evil, and that's what RE7 was. RE7 is just divergence from it, right? Because RE6 was just being more and more derivative of what was happening before, in a bad direction of going more actiony, right? Yeah. And then RE7 brought it back to that horror thing, and then RE8 built upon it. Hello and welcome to level 137 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the gaming podcast with both takes and no strings attached. I am Jeremy. Here is my compadre, David.
What up?
How's your evening going?
It's going all right. I had Thai food for dinner. It's been probably about a month or so at least. So
yeah,
it's delicious.
Nice.
How's your day been?
It's been going all right. I had a sub for dinner.
Ooh,
I love Penn Station. That's where I had it.
Never had theirs.
Pretty good. I got the cheesesteak from there. It's pretty good. The place is kind of known for their cheesesteak, and with that in mind, it was a little disappointing, but it was still good. It was still a decent cheesesteak. So,
are you talking like Philly cheesesteak?
Yeah.
I absolutely just do not like Philly cheesesteaks, and I don't know why. I love cheese. I love meat, you know, like it, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the feng shui of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just Philly cheesesteaks make me.
There's
I know it's a huge hit everywhere.
I mean, I love subs, meat sandwiches. Walk around with them, eat them, super easy. They're delicious. Yeah. There is a new place I think opened up earlier this year called Gigi's To Go. And it's like an Italian sandwich place. They have like the Italian subs. They have muffaletta. If you like muffalettas, they have those there. Delicious.
Never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's like a sandwich. You know, it's your meat sandwich, but like it's a seeded bread, and I believe the bread is, I don't want to say soaked, but it has like olive oil in it.
It's like a marinated bread.
Yeah, like a marinated bread with olive oil.
And it's interesting.
It's delicious. Their Italian sandwich is super huge. Have you ever seen memes of like huge Italian sandwiches? They have them like that. That's originally where I was going to go, but they were closed by the time I got out there, so I decided with Penn Station. But yeah, I agree. I've joked before about wanting to retire to Italy and just walk around and drink wine and eat meat sandwiches. That's all I want to do.
That'd be the life, man.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens, we welcome you into this level of the pod. We hope that you're having a good day. Maybe you've enjoyed some good Thai. What kind of Thai did you get? What Thai dish?
The meal I always get is called masaman.
Okay.
So it comes with rice, like many of them do. And then the actual base of the meal is potato chunks.
Okay.
And they're like round, so they don't dice them. They're not like squares and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they got like the ridges too. At least the one I go to, the one closest to me. So the potato chunks, and then it's onions, and then it's coconut curry milk, and it's peanuts. But I don't like the peanut taste. It's very strong, so I get no peanuts.
Yeah.
And then of course you get your choice of meat. I got beef for like the first 10 years I've had it, but the last 5 I've been getting the chicken. Seems to go better for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very, very simple few ingredients and delish.
Okay. Usually if I get Thai, I get the pad CU.
Yeah, a lot of people get the pad somethings. Like pad Thai is the most
pad Thai or
common American one. But yeah, the noodly ones, I've tried some when people are like full and they don't want to finish their food.
Yeah.
But I cannot get away from this coconut curry potato onion.
Oh, yeah. That sounds great.
Is.
Anything coconut mixed in, coconut milk mixed in, it's otherworldly. Yeah.
And I get the hot. I don't get hot from there. I get the medium plus.
Yes.
But I get the same dish from another place. It's called Alyssa's Thai food.
Yes.
And I get their hot, and it's like maybe medium. So
Okay. Alyssa's has a
depends where you go.
very good hibachi as well.
Do they? I
Yeah,
haven't
they
had
do.
it.
They do. Um, I also love the grade of spice where it's like mild, mild plus. So don't jump to medium, medium, medium plus. They're like it's like they had. I feel like Apple ripped off Thai restaurant ideas of like you can have an
Right?
iPhone,
It's
or you can have
here's
an
an
iPhone
iPhone
Plus.
Plus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey.
Hopefully folks listening, maybe you're eating some good Thai, or maybe you're eating a good Italian meat sandwich, or maybe you're just, I don't know, doing
Oh,
whatever you're
sounds
doing.
good.
We've got a couple of really interesting topics on the docket for today. But before we jump into that, let's start where we always start, talking about the games that we are playing. I can lead off on this one, um,
Sure.
because I was able to do it. It's
You
not just
were.
one game I've been playing.
Oh,
I've been
snap.
playing two.
Oh, snap.
That's right. After trying weeks upon weeks, I've been able to play collectively maybe an hour to an hour and a half of Rise of the Ronin. So I am making progress. Of course, you may be asking, well, did you make any progress in the main story? Yeah, kinda. And again, I'm not helping myself. But I did make some progress in the main story. I'm trying to keep the momentum going there. But it felt good to jump back into that to actually get progress going again because I'm trying to get to these other games. I'm trying to get to these new games.
Right.
There was another game, another new game that dropped. I'm trying to think on Game Pass that I wanted to look at and play, and it's like I gotta get out of my way. So I've been playing some Rise of the Ronin, and then obviously still playing some Oblivion Remastered, just working my way through that. That'll probably just be in the rotation for however many months, I'm assuming, unless I get completely
Right.
enthralled by something else. But yes, back in Rise of the Ronin, back or staying with Oblivion. That's pretty much been it. I don't think I have not had any time barely for a second game, so there's no third game in the rotation. Perhaps maybe so one day, but not right now. I did update some games, so who knows? I might jump into Helldivers 2 that had a huge update, but otherwise, yeah, that's what I've been playing. How about
All
you?
right. That's awesome. Um, I should get this yawn out. There we go. Um, a lot of rivals. The comp season restarted today, and
Okay.
I got into Grandmaster just in the nick of time. Like last night, I was playing, and there was 2 hours left. And I was like, come on, I gotta make it, and I barely made it. I played one match after I made it, and I lost. And I was like, I'm not risking losing this. I'm just gonna do something else.
Yeah.
So got in, and now there wasn't a rank reset this time, which I think is really cool. It keeps the higher people out of the lower lobbies,
Mm-hmm.
because if they don't play in the beginning, they say they play halfway through, whatever, and then everyone's back where they're supposed to be, except for them. They're just destroying lobbies, and it's fun for nobody. They're bored. Everyone else is upset.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good change. They added Ultron, so
Yes.
that's cool.
Yeah.
He's a strategist, so a healer mostly.
Okay.
He has a team up with Iron Man. So if your team has Iron Man and Ultron gets an extra button to use. It's like a beam, so it goes through anybody, and it either heals them if they're on your team, or it hurts them if they're on the enemy team. So that's
Okay.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've had an Ultron on both teams on every game I played today,
Hmm.
which was like 6 or 7, not too many.
Yeah.
But it's just another season, and you have to just learn to play a little differently.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I've been playing.
Okay. Okay. Marvel Rivals taking a big batch of that time. It's
Yeah,
theirs. It's claimed its place.
it claimed.
Yeah. Nice.
You
Nice.
could say Apex Throne Fall.
Yep. Yep. I appreciate the effort on that one. I do.
You're welcome. I really wanted to say fell, but I was like, I just need to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah, little tidbit. Speaking of Thronefall, they released a mobile version of their game.
Oh,
I don't know if I mentioned that before. That
I think you did.
okay,
Maybe
yeah,
not.
because
I
they
don't
had
know.
a rip off, and then they finally did their own mobile
Oh,
version.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
you did.
mobile version needs a little work. But yeah, it's cool they did it. All right, so that's it for what we're playing. It's time to move into our topics. David, you're going to lead it off.
Yeah, yeah, I could do that. All right, let's see. So, as gamers, everyone out there listening, us as well, we know that some of these companies are just milking certain games just for some money, and
Mm-hmm.
most of the time it's obvious, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe sometimes it's not. So I wanted to get your opinion on maybe like where is the line in the sand where it is a company just milking a game versus a company is, crapping out these games, but they're good enough and different enough to not get that milky, like, old I don't want to play this anymore kind of feeling from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess I'll throw out like an obvious one. We said it earlier, like Call of Duty. It's just very milked at this point.
Yeah.
And I know they have 23 of them or whatever, but
23
like,
of them. Yeah.
come on, you know. So I guess I'll put one line in the sand right now. If there's enough difference creativity wise, maybe at least in the stories, right? I'll use my example again from earlier is like Assassin's Creed. Yeah, there is a half the amount of Assassin's Creeds as there is Call of Duties, but I feel like even just story alone, there's enough differences to where you feel like you're playing a different game between playing the same Assassin's Creed. If
Mm-hmm.
I go from Black Flag to Mirage, it's obviously going to be quite different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I go from Modern Warfare 2 to Black Ops 6, what is really different? Black Ops 6 has zombies,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right.
It needs
Right.
more than that. Like, they have levels for the multiplayer, but that's it. It needs more oomph, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I feel like I feel like it's apparent to people. They can tell like when there's been enough effort put into a game to make it different. Like you mentioned, like there's 14 Assassin's Creeds. That's a lot of games in a franchise, even though it's half a Call of Duty. That's a lot of games in a franchise. But I mean, like you can go along and say, okay, they went back and they reinvented it with Origins, and with every game they've been distinctly trying to build upon that. They all place the same, but slightly differently enough, and also the intention with the stories is different. The way that you progress and move through the story of Origins is very, very, very different for how you move through the story of Valhalla. They're just different. And now
Right.
going with Shadows, right? Like they're distinctly different, even with like Shadows, right? You're back to like a dual protagonist type of gameplay mechanic, which they didn't have in Valhalla. They didn't really have that in Odyssey either. They didn't have that in Origin. So again, they're doing some changes. You can say that's like really intentional, where it's like you're saying with Call of Duty, there's just the same skeleton, and it changes up a little bit bits by bit. So I would say another franchise that has even less numbered versions than Assassin's Creed,
Hmm.
but is published by the same company that I think is a milk job. People may disagree. I have an even bigger franchise I think is a milk job. But this one is Far Cry. Because Far Cry
Ooh.
has basically been just arguably just reskins of Far Cry 3. If you want to be even more like kind of accurate in as far as like how derivative they've been, reskins of Far Cry 4. I've played 4, 5, and 6. 5 and 6 play just like they're reskins of 4. And even then 4 feels like 3. It's evil overarching protagonists that they write to be slightly interesting, right? Far Cry 3 had the best antagonist, and then I think Pagan Min follows it up in 4. But it's the same thing where it's like there's not a lot of innovation happening here. It's basically just reskins of stories. These could be DLCs, you know what I'm saying? But like these are supposed to be whole games. Let's get Giancarlo Esposito to be the antagonist in 6 because that's a big, crazy, cool thing. But otherwise, it's the same premise. It doesn't add any value, and you can tell they're not trying to find ways to really uniquely add value or anything interesting to the game, right? It has to be more just slightly modifying your story. You know, I mean, well, Call of Duty is even more clear because they're going back and they're remaking Modern Warfare 2. They're remaking the same games in the same, you know what I'm saying, the same line with the same names, and it's like, yeah, it's different, but it's like it is, but it isn't really, you know, like this is the same thing functionally. And I feel like Far Cry is another instance of that where they're like,
okay,
I honestly feel like they don't know what to do with it. So we're just going to kind of keep doing the same thing. There's not a lot of open world FPS games out there. This is a niche that we kind of can have, so let's just kind of keep doing it. And until they're put in a position, I think until they have a moment or an influence of something that like Resident Evil had with PT, where this is like an opportunity to innovate. Let's use this interesting new idea and innovate on our franchise and inject some new interesting things into it. Until Far Cry has something that it runs into with some of these things, and it may have it. I don't know. There's open world games, you know, Rust. There's survival open world games that are first person, but are actually like narrative driven. It'll probably not be. They won't have to do much. It'll just be the same. You know, it's just what it is. And I think they're just milking it. They're not trying to do anything interesting or different with it, really.
Exactly. And speaking of Resident Evil, I was gonna bring that up. I feel like they're tiptoeing, but they're trying to pull away from milking because realistically, besides the scenery, there's not much of a difference between like 4 and 5, right? You have an AI ally trying to help you in certain ways, whatever. You have to play them sometimes. You're facing zombies, blah 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 blah. But at least with Resident Evil, they're trying new things. They tried RE-Verse, right? It was their Dead by Daylight. Didn't do too well. It's already done. It was only out for a couple of years. They tried Orc, Operation Raccoon City, right? You could play as the Umbrella people, and then the multiplayer, you're just fighting other people. I forget what other game they tried. No, RE-Verse was just like a free-for-all kind of thing, or like in teammates, like you just kill other people with shooting. I forget what the other one was that I said was like Day by Daylight. I have to bring up Steam, but either way, we know. So at least with Resident Evil, they're trying, and there is a huge difference between even 4 and 5 again, but like 6 and 8, there's a huge difference.
Yeah,
you know, not just story wise, but 6 is very like way too actiony. At least 8 is more on the horror side.
We're right. They did so like RE7 in like the Resident Evil to me plays very similar to like Assassin's Creed, where it's like we're going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to keep a lot of things, but we're going to reinvent the wheel with Origins. And with Resident Evil, again, like seeing what the possibilities that PT demo did, they were like, we're going to reinvent Resident Evil, and that's what RE7 was. RE7 is just divergence from it, right? Because RE6 was just being more and more derivative of what was happening before, and in a bad direction of going more actiony, right? Yeah. And then RE7 brought it back to that horror thing, and then RE8 built upon it, right? So like, I feel like they're kind of in that same boat, like you were saying, like kind of like with Assassin's Creed, where it's like they've done so much to change it to be different, to change things that it's steering away from milking. Every later iteration is adding value, or it's interesting in some particular way that feels like it's worth it. That it's not just them trying to just cash in on something.
Exactly. And the name is Resistance. Is the
okay.
Dead by Daylight-esque one.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have another one? That's two biggest examples for me.
I do, and this one people may not like. And I say this even with the latest iteration being a game that I really enjoyed. I think it may have actually been my game of the year. Halo. Halo is a milk job. And even with Halo Infinite,
I feel
adding things like more verticality, adding things like the grappling hook for like different type of movements, they added a lot of that stuff in. The story of it and structure of it, of the story and this character in this world has been fairly stagnant. There hasn't been a lot of innovation on it, right? Even the Cortana storyline that has been happening, I don't know, since 3 or something. I don't know how many iterations of this game we've been having to deal with this storyline. It's all stagnant, it's all stale, and it's like it feels like you guys don't really know what to do, but you got to put out a Halo game because it's Halo, you know. So again, this is even including, hey, they tried some different things, but the overall carcass of it is still kind of the same. You might have added something here and something there, but that's not enough to where it's like this is substantially adding value to the franchise. This is substantially adding value to this experience. I enjoy playing Halo. I was going to enjoy playing Halo Infinite, but I don't see anyone that maybe didn't enjoy Halo coming to Halo Infinite and being like, this provided substance or value that I did not have in the previous Halos. And this is something that I remember. This is, or maybe I'm back into the franchise. That's not what it did.
I feel ya.
It should have been that. It should have been that, because this was Halo for Xbox Series X. You're launching your new system after you did a terrible job with the Xbox One. Still one of the worst consoles ever made. And this is your chance with a new Halo. You come out half cocked, half the things that are the features that are supposed to be in it aren't even in it. And then again, when you get into this, we've added this innovation, you've added some cool things. But I will tell you, for a game of Halo's substance and magnitude, for you to be saying, hey, we added a grappling hook as being like the major tout, that's not good enough, bro. That's like a meme from the 2010s of now this game has a grappling hook. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do better than that, man, you know? And so I think that's another franchise that's getting milked. So much so that it may not be getting milked anymore because they may have milked it into oblivion. That franchise has been upended, and there's a lot of unknowns about it, and it doesn't make sense because it's freaking Halo. If you were to think about a game genre or a game franchise that defined the 2000s of gaming, Halo is number one. I don't know. I don't care what else you have. Halo is
it's up there. One. Even me, that I don't enjoy Halo as a series itself. I mean, I played a lot of Halo 3 because my friends did, and yeah, it was fun at times. But like, yeah, that so many people were touched by Halo.
Yeah, and they got it wrong, and now it's just a milk job, man.
Right, and I have to agree with you because it might just be the people I hang out with and stuff. We just got older. But like, I haven't heard the hypeness of story since Halo 3 from Halos, right? I played Reach because my friend was like, hey, you want to play Reach together? I'm like, yeah, sure. I cannot tell you a single thing about the Reach story. I don't remember anything from it. Is it because I only played it once? Maybe. But so many people I know just raved about Halo 3's story. And we've had, 4 or 5 games after Halo 3,
right? Main lines, and then you include those non-mainline ones. And it's a thing of like, because I can see someone being like, what are you talking about? Halo's averaging 20,000 concurrent players. That's fine. It's not a matter of just talking about numbers. Think about how many concurrent numbers of players that are playing it now, and then think about what that number would have been in 2005. the main argument is saying that this franchise was arguably the franchise that was the personification or representation of video gaming. Like this was it. Like there was Mario, there was Sonic, and then there was Master Chief. And the idea that it's been this drastic fall, and part of it is, I think, because the games just became more and more derivative. They tried a little bit of different things, but it was just a lot of like just trying to like, hey, we just got to put some stuff out there. We got to have a Halo game, and then you come out with the latest Halo Infinite, where it's just like, even the name Infinite, right? Like that's supposed to mean that like Halo's never going to end. That's what that's supposed to mean. Like this is going to be so great. We're going to usher in a new era where Halo's never going to end. Buddy, it might have ended. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a representation of milking something, because part of the representation, the idea of milking a franchise or milking a game, is that there's eventual falling away or semi-death of it, right? That eventually you make it irrelevant. You leave it as just this thing on the road. And I feel like that's where Halo's been heading. It's just been whatever, you know what I'm saying? So much to a point that like Microsoft ain't talking about Halo. It's their franchise. They ain't even talking about
it. It's what put them on the map.
Exactly.
And they don't care.
No. We're talking about, South of Midnight. Last level, you and I were talking about South of Midnight. We're not talking about the perspective of another Halo. No one cares. We're not talking about what it might be like in the future. Everyone's amped up for Gears 6 from Xbox. Yep. Everyone's geared up for Fable. They're not talking about, if you told me that there would be a day and time where more people, where Fable was in the zeitgeist more than Halo, I would have said, oh, you must be huffing opium, because that's an insane thing to say. But it's true. So that's a representation of it, man. The franchise has gotten milked.
I agree. And as we were talking about that one, I thought of another one. And this is just a collective, but what can you do, is sport games like Madden or, the basketball ones and baseball ones. I know they just started bringing those back, but like there's nothing. And I know, Madden, like it doesn't really have competition, so they don't really have to, but like every year it's just different rosters and then that's it. But the problem is, what can you do? You're just making a sports game.
A perfect example of that is another, let's go EA. And you mentioned, Madden, right? Madden doesn't have competition. So what's an example of a game franchise in that sports where they milk them all? Or they constantly put out things, but you're milking it, right? You're not adding value and you're having it die. That franchise is not Madden. It's NBA or EA Live. It's their basketball game. Because what happened is that EA also had a NBA basketball game that was competing with 2K, and 2K was putting out iterations that had more substance and value. And EA was just, let's just kick another NBA Live out. Let's just kick another NBA Live out. Let's just kick another NBA Live out, right? I remember, I don't know if you recall, if you played like basketball games in like the mid 2000s, NBA Live 2005 with the dunk contest. I remember whole gaming sessions would just be us sitting around the TV trying to pull off the best dunks in the dunk contest, picking Vince Carter, picking Tracy McGrady or whoever else, and just having who can do the craziest 360 between the legs dunk, right? And it didn't. That's when EA, when NBA Live was adding stuff, they stopped adding. It became derivative. They just kept milking. They're like, we can't. We're either trying to copy things that 2K is doing too late, or we're just not bringing anything new to the table. So much so that the franchise died. They tried to resurrect it, I believe, with Live, I forgot, maybe 15 or 16. It's the one with Joel Embiid on it. And then it immediately died again. So now there's no NBA Live. Like it died. They tried to resurrect it. And they were like, oh, this adds nothing. You're just trying to bring this IP back so you can milk it. And then it went away again. Which is what I feel like if there was competition would happen to you. That same thing would happen to Madden. I think that's why they put so much money and effort into trying to make sure they don't have competition there, because they've seen what happens when they have competition. They lose because they're just seeking the milk. They aren't seeking to innovate or anything like that or add value, which is God. Yeah.
Okay. And then I have a question about a series.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the fence, more so that it's not being milked, but The Sims.
Oh, The Sims.
Because, again, not much you can add, but they have added all these like DLCs. There's the pet edition and this edition and this edition. And they're only on Sims 5.
The Sims 4 is actually the personification of milking. It actually personifies it better than anything. The Sims 4 originally came out in 2014.
Okay.
So this game is 11 years old. Yes. And here's what I would say. If I asked you, here's what I would say. Even though they come out with these little DLC packs and different things like that, which are complete ripoffs that people have gotten used to in that pricing model, it doesn't mean that it's right. It just means that you got used to being exploited. Doesn't mean the rest of us have to like it. But if I was to ask you this quick question, this is a quick question, gut reaction, right? I'm going to ask you this. Gut reaction.
From the gut. Let's go.
From the gut, right? Don't have to think about it. Do you think that, and I'm going to use milk instead, I'm going to say exploit, milk, same thing. Do you think that Bethesda has exploited the Skyrim?
Definitely.
They've definitely exploited The Sims then.
Okay, so they've just kept re-releasing it and...
Well, no, they just add essentially expansion packs.
Got it.
So you have the same game that came out 11 years ago, and they just keep adding expansion packs to it. Now, this is clearly the case because within the past 3 to 5 years, there have been an uprising of independent life simulators that are trying to take The Sims lunch. So this is emblematic.
Really?
This is the case because the market is telling us this is the case. It's the same with SimCity, right? Where they're milking it, they're not being innovative. So then Cities XXL and City Skylines pop up. The market is letting us know that there's a demand for something other than this because it's not adding value and it's being exploited. And then other things come and take their lunch. That's what everything else has been trying to do. So I think there's one that released earlier this year called Enzoy. That's one that came out. There's been other ones, but they're life simulation games. They're trying to take market share from The Sims. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you have The Sims community is a very strong, tight-knit, brainwashed community. They may not go for a new simulation game, but for those on the fringes that want something new and different, all you need is a piece. And if you're adding more value and they're not, eventually it catches up. It always does.
Right.
So that's an example. So is the Sims 4, the Sims 4 getting milked?
You convinced me.
It's got the biggest udders of everything. It's got the biggest udders. Ones. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all I got.
Okay. I'd be curious to know what other games people think or other franchises people think are being milked or exploited.
Probably quite a few of them.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you said Madden, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of there's not any competition there. So, but it is. They put the little amount of changes, the innovations as they can in that game year after year. That's for sure. And as I've said before, and it still rings true, sports gamers are the dumbest gamers. And, you know, we're going to get through with it. So for my topic, it's a little bit of curiosity. You know, in the past, we've talked about, we still talk about game length, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about like play hours, like you've talked about how you have thousands of play hours in a certain game. And I've talked about how I often struggle to either build up a lot of play hours, or sometimes I struggle to play and beat games because of the play time. If I see a game and it says, hey, this game is 27 hours, I say to myself, it's going to be a test, you know? So we've always talked about what's the or what's the ideal playtime length for a game? A $40, $50, $60 game. How long should it be, right? But my curiosity came to, well, what's a good amount of time for a gameplay session? So I talked about me being able to get maybe a good hour, hour and a half in on the Rise of Ronin or Rise of the Ronin. And that's been okay. But I feel like usually for that game or that type of game, that 2.5 hours, that feels like a good session. That feels like enough time for me to enjoy the game and make decent progress in it, right? And that also made me curious about, well, is that the case for any game that I'm playing? Is 2.5 hours good for, is that a good session for, Horizon, essentially? Is that a good session for Oblivion or an Elder Scrolls game, right? What's an ideal game duration or playtime session? What's your ideal one? Is it maybe if you're maybe like, oh man, if I can get, sometimes I may just have an hour to play a game, but that may be a great hour. That may be an hour straight Coke hour. And other times I may have 3-4 hours to play a game, but it feels like a lot of fluff. It feels arduous. It doesn't feel like I'm making a lot of progress. So that may not be a good play session. But for you, on average, based upon what you like to play, what you do play, and most importantly, I think this is the thing that really impacts it, the time you have available. What feels like an ideal, satisfying play session for you, time-wise?
I think you're right. If I get in like a 2 to 3 hour mark, I think that's pretty good. It gives me enough time to feel like I've played the game for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's it. Because if I just play like 1 or 2 games, that could be 10 minutes or it could be an hour. Right? If I make, top 5, for instance, if I'm playing Apex, for example.
Yeah.
Or, even in Marvel Rivals, the games can be 20 minutes to half an hour, if you make overtime or not.
Mm-hmm.
So like to get in a couple of games, I guess not a couple since that only would be 2, but get like 4 or 5 games in, right? It's like 2 hours, 3 hours. I feel like that's great. And even if I was playing a game like Cyberpunk or The Last of Us or Resident Evil, the 2 hours, 3 hours, I feel like even if I got stuck on a certain part or whatever, that's enough time to at least get quite a bit of story done. And now I have that to remember and relive until I play again for another 2 or 3 hours or so.
Right. Yeah, it feels it's a little different than something like a television show or a movie, right? Especially like TV. Like you don't think like, oh, well, I got a couple of hours of TV in today. I feel like I made good progress. That's satiating, right? You just kind of watch the TV until you don't want to watch it no more. That varies based on your availability, your brain, your brain power, what you've got going on, right? But like with games, I've almost never been. It's been a long time since I've been at a point where I'm like, I just play a game for however hours on end, and then I just like stop. You know what I'm saying? Like I just stop. Like I stop when I'm just done. Most of the time have to think about, well, I have to stop because I have other stuff to do. But I want this game session, this playing session that I have to feel meaningful, to make decent progress, different things like that. I remember playing a game I mentioned before. There was a game that came out a long time ago, developed by Gearbox, called Bulletstorm. And I remember that I rented that game through GameFly at the time, and I played and beat that game in one day. And I looked it up because you also know that I have poor perception of time. So yes. I could have swore that it took me 6 hours to beat that game. But if I go on how long to beat, I think it actually has the time being something like 8 to 10 hours. But that's the instance of, I was like, I played it, I beat it, okay, I'm done now. Like I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't have to think about what else I have to do and therefore what my time might be, right? It was just a matter of I played until I'm done. Yeah, so it says how long to beat. So here it has 7.5 hours, so not too far off. Um, but now it's like I'm like, okay, I got a max. I can give an hour and a half in this game. But a lot of times, the time I have available the game doesn't feel like enough. So I put an hour, hour and a half into Rise of the Ronin. I want to put some more time into it tonight because even though I made some progress, it doesn't feel satisfying. But if I think about all the games I've played and the amount of time that it takes for me to actually feel like it's satisfying, I would say maybe that 2 to 2.5 hour mark has been on average the most satisfying for me, which is why like and which is again like if I think about that approach, if I think of something like Final Fantasy 16, which is supposed to be 3 hours, right, or 30 hours, I mean, then that's the equivalent of like 15 days of play, right?
Right.
It took me a hell of a lot longer than 15 days to beat that game. You know what I'm saying? So obviously I wasn't getting those ideal sessions, but maybe you get an hour here, maybe you're able to get 3 if you're able to, if that feels about right for that day.
Right.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of things that factor into it, but I feel like we eventually arrive at an average or default that we kind of feel comfortable with as far as how much time we put into a play session. And I think for me, it's around that I'd say that 2 to 3 hour mark. It's where it feels like, I played this game. I got a good bit into it. I feel good about it. Awesome.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. And that is coming from somebody that literally streamed playing Overwatch, the original, for 26 hours straight.
Yeah.
You know, and I beat Resident Evil 7 in one straight shot. I just couldn't put it down. That was 7.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like if I have the time and don't have anything to do, I could literally just sit here and play, even if I'm exhausted, because my mind is occupied and I'm doing something.
Yeah.
But a healthy standard, 2 to 3 hours, I think, is a great spot.
Yeah.
Even if that's all I can get that day, which is most of the time, I usually don't get on until like 11 or midnight. I'll play until like 1:30, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and that's typically what I get. And I feel satisfied when I go to bed.
Yeah. 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 I'm the same. I feel like if you gave me 5 hours, I wouldn't be able to. I couldn't do it. I just don't. My brain is just so overloaded all the time that like it can't handle 5 hours straight of trying to figure things out or whatever else is going on, right? Even from a story standpoint, like I've got to shut it down. I've got to put on YouTube and dumb it and just let this thing, move at just the base amount of energy that it needs. But
I think
2 to 3 hours I can get there.
I think the reason I can do so long is because I fried my brain in that type of sense, because I've just always have done that. Like I remember my like first long session I ever had was 3rd grade summer, was the first night I stayed up all night and I was playing Twisted Metal 2. My dad got up to go to work at 5:30 in the morning. He said, "What are you doing? Go to bed." Yeah. So I laid down until he left and then got back up and kept playing.
Yeah, I remember those days. Oh, brother. Super late sessions of playing Jade Empire. Yeah, yeah. I didn't have a lot of those, but I did have some of those. And yeah, those sessions of like, oh, it's 4 in the morning, it's 5 in the morning, it's 6 in the morning. Okay, if it's 6 in the morning, if I go to sleep now, I can sleep for 2 hours, and then I can get up and go to school, and I'll be fine. Right? Just because you're an idiot, you don't know how stuff works. And yeah, so yeah, I remember that, but definitely had less of those. So, and I think just over time, I've gotten kind of less conditioned to being able to have those longer runs. Every once in a while, when I have the time, but when I have the ability, and I've had like not a lot to think about, the brain's feeling free. Yeah, I might be able to jump on a PC and play maybe 5 hours. That's like the max that I could probably get.
It's like a stream session for you.
Right, but then I'm guess what I'm playing with those 5 hours? I'm playing something like freaking Civilization, where 5 hours means nothing. In any other game, 5 hours is a decent amount of time to put into a game. I put 5 hours into Hellblade 2. I've damn near almost beat the whole thing. I put 5 hours into Civilization. I'm in like freaking 2300 BC, and I still gotta like freaking find iron or something. It's like, all right, well, I should when I have these big moments of time, maybe I should put them in places where they have more equity, right, in the play time, But
right.
Yeah, and every once in a while you have those moments, and those feel great, especially if you've just been playing games your whole life, right? It kind of reminds you of being a kid where you had nothing to do, no bills, no responsibilities, and you could sit around and you could fart around your Super Nintendo and play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, A Shell in Time for hours, just not care.
Right.
And now I'm like playing Oblivion, and they're like, hey, you've got to, be friends with the tax person so you can buy a house. And I'm like, oh man, I actually got to think about my actual taxes in real life now. Oh no, I'm spiraling. I can't play the game anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it's insane.
Right.
But yeah. Cool. But that's curious. So around the same amount of time, 2 to 3 hours, satisfying amount. I feel
like it's a hot spot. Yeah.
Yeah, for a game session. I was actually looking up, and it says that I was reading up a couple of articles. How much time should you spend playing video games? And so it says the optimal amount of time spent playing video games should never exceed 3 hours per day. This is from the Times of Malta. I'm not even sure that's a real website. I mean, I'm on it, so I guess it's real. But then I was also reading up because on this article by the Child Mind Institute, which quotes the American Academy of Pediatrics, that says for kids over the age of 6, and I guess that would include us, says no more than 60 minutes on school days and 2 hours on non-school days. So we're kind of falling into that median, I guess, of that 2 to 3 hours. Shouldn't expect more than 3. If you're a kid on non-school days, it should be no more than 2 hours. I technically am in school, I guess, so I should maybe limit it to 30 minutes a day. But when I'm not, it's I can go up to 2. That's about right.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's it for my topic though, which means we have arrived at final thoughts.
Yeah,
we can give a final thought about anything related or unrelated to the podcast episode. So, who wants to give a final thought first?
I will go.
Okay.
So, I've been doing a lot of yard work. I have a freaking acre, as you know, and it's just a lot. But in the middle of my yard, I have a cherry tree.
Nice.
Okay. It's the maraschino cherries or whatever, like the expensive ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it has not produced any cherries for the last like 5 or 6 years.
Really?
Yeah. But this year, there's like 50, 60 cherries on this thing. And I can't wait until they're ripe.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I did this or not, but last year I started putting the ash from my fire pit. When it starts to get too full, I take out the ash and I put it around the tree. So I have this mound of ash around the tree instead of mulch.
Yeah.
And this thing is like popping.
I wonder if that's like helping hold like moisture in.
Maybe it's helping with the moisture. My partner Emily, she said that when you burn, you make a fire, it turns into like some phosphorus and nitrogen or whatever, it gets into the burnt wood and stuff. So maybe it's getting those elements. And
right.
So did I not? Who knows? But I'm just glad the cherries are back, and I hope I can eat some before animals get to them.
Yeah, I remember there was like I was doing that too, like with my charcoal grill. Like once the ash, all that stuff was done, I was throwing it into my planter. Now I was doing this with a mix of lump charcoal and charcoal briquettes. Shouldn't have done it with the briquettes, but the lump charcoal is fine. But anyway, we did that, mixed it in, couple years, all that stuff, just to make sure it's good with the soil. And then last year, I seeded some Brussels sprouts, which did not grow at all.
Okay.
But I also put in there
We
a
can grow those
single,
here?
yeah, yeah. I also put in there a single cucumber plant. And the cucumbers were some of the largest cucumbers I've ever seen in my life. I actually have a picture.
Maybe it's plant-based.
Yeah.
Maybe ash and charcoal and stuff is like good for cherries and cucumbers, but maybe it's not for like Brussels sprouts and I don't know. Broccoli.
I have a feeling that the Brussels sprouts didn't grow because the cucumbers just took everything. I mean,
Yeah,
it turned
maybe.
huge. It grew everywhere. These
Mm,
huge cucumber things. Like I said, I took a picture of one of them, right?
right.
Which I mean, the way that I'm holding it up is very um questioning, one would say.
Risque.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
just crazy sizes. We had
Mhm.
planted some other, I mean, actually this cucumber in our yard last year just in general went crazy. But those specifically from that planted area, they were massive. I'm talking like 7-9 inch long cucumbers, like
Wow.
crazy. And so that might have something to do with it. I mean, charcoal is essentially just burned wood that you burn again, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. That might have something to do with it. It might be holding in moisture, might be adding more nutrients to the tree. And
Mhm.
then we actually have our backyard tree, it like blossoms and stuff. We were actually concerned that it might be dying because it usually has a lot of leaves on it, and it doesn't have as many leaves this year. But the
Mhm.
branches have been growing out, so it is growing still,
Okay.
but don't know what the health of it is. I have to actually check in with an arborist, who,
Oh.
which is a position or job I did not know existed until about a week ago.
Yeah.
Someone that
Yeah, I
just
didn't know it
goes around
existed till
and
now.
whispers to trees, or tree whisperers. Just
Hey
like you
tree,
have a
how you
whisperer for a
doing?
dog. Yeah.
How you feeling?
I would
Oh.
assume that's what it says to the tree. Walks up to the tree and says, "How are you doing? My name is Nathan." You know, and then it says, "I'm here to assess your health and see how you're doing." You know,
It's like a tree doctor.
yeah, tree doctor. I'm assuming that it tickles the trees. I don't know if trees have. Well, I guess the fruits are quote unquote its genitalia. So I don't know if it tickles the genitalia or not, but I'm assuming that tree whisperer would do that and says, "Up, checks out, seems fine.
Right.
It should be good to go."
Wow.
Um, so that's your final thought, basically. Kind
Yeah.
of
I just
yeah,
glad the cherries are back.
yeah. Those are gonna be real good too.
Oh yeah. The first 2 years I was here when
Mm-hmm.
it like really produced them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so good. I just sat there. I picked all the ones that were good and I just ate them all. I didn't
Yeah,
even put them in the fridge. They were just gone. There was nothing to put in the fridge.
yeah.
But they were so good.
Nice. Um, my final thought was there was in the news a couple of other unfortunate game related layoffs. One
Mm-hmm.
happening with Platonic, I think is the name of the developer. They develop Ukulele, and the other one I think that
Okay.
was much bigger in the news was, of course, the layoffs at what is it called? It's not called Collider. It's called Cliffhanger Studios, which is a studio that was developed or established by EA in 2023. They were developing the Black Panther video game,
Oh yeah, I just saw that
and yeah,
too.
and
They
the
canceled
game
it
canceled the
and
game and closed the studio.
laid them off. Yep.
Yep. And so it's crazy. All this stuff. It's not. I don't know really how this is going to be sustainable in the next 5 years. I don't know how it's going to work. We talked about the rise of the $50 game in the last level, and
Mm-hmm.
that may be a way that some people sustain is by having these smaller scoped. You know, no one's asking for these super huge games. You see memes of like GTA 6's map and how it's like 4 times larger than Grand Theft Auto 5's map. And it's like no one asked you to make a map that no one asked you. I don't recall a single social media post that's of someone saying, I hope the next Grand Theft Auto is 4 times as large as this one. I don't recall anyone ever saying that.
I want someone to run from one corner to the kitty corner and see how long it takes them. Run. I don't want them to take a car or whatever. Run from corner to corner, because that is probably going to take forever, the size of that map.
Well, yeah, it's like if you think about like, okay, if you want to get from one edge of a game map to the other edge of a game map in like GTA 5 or something, let's say it takes like 20 minutes, like 20 real-time minutes. Well, how long does this one take? Like 40, 45? Why? Who wants to do that? And you know for sure they're going to have quests that require you. You're gonna meet on the east side of the map and have to go to the central west side of a map in order to complete a mission. And it's going to be like I had to drive or find a way to get there, and it took me like freaking 20 minutes in real time to do that. I have to drive 20 minutes in real life. I don't want to have to drive 20 minutes in a video game, right? This is supposed to be relaxing. This is supposed to be relaxing. It was one of the biggest critiques I heard of Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Was that like Corey had that, right? He's like, yeah, when I have to like skin the animal, I have to actually stop, and my guy has to go through the actual real life thing of skinning the animal, and it just takes a long time. And at the time I was like, well, Corey is for realism. But I also understand the other side of it, is that I play games partly so that I don't have to spend the real amount of time it takes to skin an animal. Why are you adding this to this game? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, just have it, I pick up the skin and I move.
They should have an option, like quick grab or like, video grab. You skin the whole thing and do this and that and the other.
There's like in some PC games they have like a skip animation option, right? Where you can like
exactly that.
So let's skip the skinny animation option. I just get the skin, Yeah. But yeah, who knows? I don't know how this is going to be sustainable, but a couple more layoffs. Game cancellation. Black Panther, pretty big IP, Marvel game. Know that Marvel stuff has been struggling recently. Superhero fatigue is like setting in, and it's real and it's great. I can't wait to see the next cinema, motion, whatever norm that happens next. But hey, yeah, it's final thought.
It's a good one.
Leads us to the end of level 137 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. We are also on the social medias like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, where we upload video versions of the podcast. If you want to support us, there's a couple ways you can do that. One is to buy merch at our Teespring store, like this phone case. We've got shirts, hats, hoodies, stickers. The other way is we have a Patreon. We're 3 different tiers, 2, 5, and 7. You can check those out, each offering different bits and goodies and updates there. That is it for me. David, was there anything else you wanted to add?
That's it. Peace.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next level.